there's this irrationalism, like this weird, like passionate insanity. You can hear it every time Trump talks.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you've said, it's shared by a lot of his coterie. But that insanity is almost necessarily, it has a certain half life, because when you're that stupid, there's no such thing as stability, which means that like eventually the architecture that you're destroying through your own like moronic moves, eventually the things start to come back on you, and there are other powers that consolidate to like contain your erroneousness. And so like in terms of like the final comment of the limits, it's like one of the core limits to the whole Trump era is not only how stupid they are, like in terms of like in terms of like stabilizing their own projects, like they're too dumb to stabilize their own projects, but also so many of their base, so much of their base, like their voters, are also the same degree of irrational, and so like the project can't be sustained because the core players, for the most part, like lack the ability to imagine how to sustain it.
Yeah.
And so but again, that's not something to celebrate. We're in the abyss. So like it's really a question of like how much further will we fall before the crash like finally ends the experiment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and how much damage will be done? To go back to the Wild West Deadwood analogy, when there's a drunk that's rampaging in the saloon, he's going to do a lot of damage before a Seth Bullock figure, finally walks in and yeah, grabs him by the ear and throws him out on the street, or Wyatt Earp or anything like that. And I think of those. I like those stories in part because they are great metaphors for the chaos versus order, I guess. And the best westerns often consider the chaos that is within the order too. The psychopathic violence that resides within Seth Bullock and Wyatt Earp too. But we're seeing that, I feel like, playing out on the world stage. And part of what if Carney is Seth Bullock in this case, and I don't think he's anything like that, but he is sort of, I think, ringing the bell and saying we are in the moment where there's like a drunk rampaging in the saloon, and we're sort of watching the damage be done. And at some point, like some of us are going to have to figure out how to move forward and like contain this threat, because as much as they're dumb and as much as there's Taco and Trump wavering, that instability and chaos is itself a force of disorder and violence, and taking us further into what you call the abyss. So, Seth Bullock, if you're listening, come on through.